he said, I believe that I and we collectively are so well positioned to help so many people who in turn are going to go out and help others. And I think this is like something I always tell people, like, how is self-care not selfish care? I'm like, because if you fucking like yourself, you're just nicer to people.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the redefining convo I had with Ryan Lake in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that now, go back and listen to that one and then come back and join us, or listen to this one and then listen to that one. Whatever you want to do. If this is your first time here, hello.
Welcome.
Brad is my husband.
Hello.
My name is Lesley. I never introduced myself on this.
That's like very rare.
I know. I don't.
Spelled Lesley.
I never.
What?
I don't think I ever introduced myself on any podcast that we have. So, okay. Anyways, thank you for being here. Thanks for being part of this. We are going to get into it. So today is April 18th and it's National Exercise Day. About this day, it is a day to encourage everyone to participate in physical activities. Exercise enhances our general health by giving us more energy, making us feel better, and even extending our lives by years. Regular physical activity and exercise have several health benefits that are impossible to overlook. Everyone, regardless of age, gender, or physical ability, benefits from exercise. Build new habits. So you guys, exercise does not mean like burn yourself to the ground and overdo it on this day. I was listening to some podcast and she's like, yeah, you know, when you're like feeling good at a workout and you just got back into it. So you're just like, I'm going to do 2 more things. And it's like, no, if this is your first day exercising this week, maybe like intentional movement matters. Okay. And I think if you don't like the word exercise or working out, or if those things like cause you any stress or worry or guilt, then intentional movement is what you want. That's what you want. Intentional movement. Get that blood flow going. Okay. So we're in Nashville right now. We're going to come back from Nashville, hang with the pups for a few days, and then remind them who loves them, and then leave them again. And we're going to be at the Pilates on Tour in Phoenix. So super, super excited about this. Come see us in person, April 26th to the 28th.
It's going to be a big event.
It's one of their biggest. It's more people than they've ever had a Pilates on Tour that I've ever been to. And there's a big, huge party on Saturday night because Pilates anytime. So come see us. We'll have some flashcards and some other things. So come check us out. May Accelerator. So the April Accelerator was so great. So many people loved it and also learned from it, and so many people missed it. So Brad is doing another one. So go to prfit.biz/accelerator. This is where if you're a teacher or studio owner, you're going to learn how to grow your biz, particularly if you work for yourself. So if you were an employee somewhere, if you can come if you're wanting to not be an employee somewhere, but it's best for people who get to actually make their own decisions in their business. So prfit.biz/accelerator. And one day in May, Brad, do we know?
Sure. Just get on the list.
Just get on the list. Once you hit that, it'll tell you.
I do have it somewhere. I just don't know off the top of my head.
And then also in May, we are actually doing another early bird for Cambodia because, well, we've sold out.
We definitely have a large group coming in October, which is really amazing and exciting.
So amazing. It's so amazing. So we've had
more interest. So we opened up February.
Yeah, opened up February.
25.
And it's a really good time to come. It's going to be after the Lunar New Year celebrations. And so it's just at the tail end of what would be considered high season for travel there, which means it's not a lot of people there. It's before it gets too hot, and it's just a really lovely time. Also, I do really love the sunrises in February. Yeah. So I'm just going to be really honest. Like October is amazing and the weather is phenomenal and everything is green. But in February, the sunrises are just really, really cool. We'll be about a month, actually like 2 weeks off of like what would be the spring equinox, which means you just have to turn your phone just a little bit. And then your sunrise is directly over Angkor.
Right.
So go to Lesley Logan, Lesley, as we talked about earlier, logan.co/retreat. So Lesley.
Yeah, that'll get you on the wait list.
Yep, that'll get you on the wait list, which means if you're on the wait list.
The announcement. Yeah, only those on the wait list get the
early bird
announcement.
Once you hear it publicly on the socials and stuff, it's because it's full price. So
that's right.
Yeah. And then also coming up, humongous
Big
event.
deal, y'all.
Big deal. We are doing the biggest ever OPC summer camp. I think it's one of the biggest events ever. It's definitely one of the biggest virtual events ever for Pilates lovers of all kinds and all levels. It's going to be 2 days. It's the first weekend of June. The workshops are all virtual and workouts, and there's a lifetime access to them. And so there's no excuses to not get your ticket, but this time you can buy a day pass or you can buy a la carte.
Yep.
If you're an OPC member, you're actually going to get the earliest of early bird tickets, which you may have already gotten those emails by the time this comes out. And then if you're on the wait list, you get a different early bird price and not as good as OPC members, but still really good.
Yep.
Better than the public early bird. And
That's
then
right.
once you hear it publicly, it's the public early bird and then it's full price.
There's
So
a recurring theme here, y'all. Even though we may already have your email, get yourself on these wait lists. We're
Because-
not going to add you to them. You have to add yourself.
you have to add yourself. Why?
Yep.
Because you have to raise your hand for the things you want in this life.
That's right.
Hi, I'm an elder millennial and you got to work for it. Okay. All right. So before we get into Ryan's amazing takeaways, we have an audience question.
Yeah, we did. This was a great one from Megan MB on IG. I shortened your last name, Megan, but she asked, hey, how do you feel about music in a Pilates class? How about background music? What about a choreographed Pilates class that goes to music? Is any of this frowned upon?
Yeah. So it's not, here's the thing. There's legal things to think about here versus like what's going on. So is it frowned upon? No. I don't put exercises to music beats because the reality is like that I'm not a spin class teacher and I'm not a bar teacher. I'm not a dance teacher. If you come from a dance world and that's a strength you have and that's a style you like to teach, that's fine. As a classical teacher, here's what I love. We start with 100, we have push-ups, I put a theme in there. And for me, I literally do not play any music on anything that is online for us. And that's for a reason. It's very expensive to get licensed music of any kind that anyone would recognize ever.
Yeah.
And so, and by the way, when I was teaching classes at Equinox, I was illegally using music.
Oops.
Oops, I didn't know.
But also too, I think your class has to be up to speed. You know, like sometimes if people are learning any of the moves and you've got like, okay, and we're going to do this now, because you got to choreograph, you might be leaving people behind.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's
it can
also
just be
why
complicated.
it works for a bar class or a dance class because you can repeat the moves. Whereas a Pilates, we don't
you got
do
10
that.
times to repeat the move. That doesn't happen in Pilates. So yeah.
Yeah, you maybe do 10 reps, but you're not usually going back to an exercise unless you're replacing something you can't do yet with something you can't. So
I was thinking about the stint you did about the step up classes that you were doing on YouTube.
Oh, my little stint, yeah.
And they were, but it was like they would teach you the move and then you would do the moves and then you would do a second move and then you'd merge those two together and do both moves and then you'd do a third and add it in and then the repetition allowed you to like get it.
And then at the end they added the music in and then we did to music. We didn't learn it to music. And so that's another thing. Like you just have to decide like how you to turn the music on and off. So I did background music when I work in studios on tour. Whatever background music they're playing, that is fine with me.
Yeah.
I hope they have the rights to it. I'm not involved. But also like we had an incredible webinar about music licensing. And just because you pay for your Spotify doesn't mean you're licensing it for a business. And y'all can get in trouble for doing this. Brad can talk about that. Because I don't know the name of these people, but like it's a real big deal. You wouldn't like it if people were using your stuff for free.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, they're called PROs, performance rights organizations, and they literally have people out in the field, you know, like secret shoppers. They do the same thing for music. It exists. You know, and they are they're the in-between, the go-between for where music is played, whether that's a radio station or like a theater or something, and the artists themselves. And they effectively represent the artists and they say, hey, you guys got to pay for the music you're playing in your lobby because these guys over here wrote it and they, you know, you're using their product. So anyway, that's what those PROs actually do. But it's long and complicated, to be honest. We just intentionally don't record music because it just cuts the whole thing out.
Yep. Makes it easy. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for you.
Great question, Megan.
And I thank you for asking it. And you guys just send in your questions and we will answer them in detail on the podcast.
Yeah, do it. All right, now let's talk about Mr. Ryan Lang. He's the founder of Whole Performance Coaching and co-founder of Empire Partners. Ryan brings over 2 decades of experience from building an 8-figure energy business to consulting for notable clients like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His approach to coaching is deeply influenced by his insights into identity's impact on performance. Identity's impact on performance. That's an interesting thing to say. And I think there was just a really, really interesting conversation. I didn't actually know any of Ryan's backstory, even though we know him. I had never sat down and like just listened to him share. So I enjoyed this conversation a lot, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I think it's interesting is like when we meet people when they're at like this new top of their life, we like know this. We know this the Ryan
we
that
only
we
know them.
We don't know
today.
the before Ryan,
Yeah.
and
We don't know the
gonna be honest, Ryan.
the dark side.
Not sure we've been friends. Not sure.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. I just don't think our paths would have crossed, and I don't think you wouldn't have liked me either. Anyways, I love that he said this. The more internal work I did on myself, the more I was looking at what I was giving back to the world. And this is when he was talking about how he was just like sucking badly at like giving back to the world. He just really wasn't. And
it wasn't even just the world. It was like his family,
Yeah.
his daughters,
yeah. And
his wife.
And so I think we were recently listening to someone else yesterday on a call, and they were talking about like someone was complaining about her boss, and the coach was like, well, what do you think your boss needs? Well, have you thought about giving your boss what they need? And it was this interesting thing because it's like, of course, when I go, what a shit boss, fuck that boss. And then it's like, oh, burn, what have you been doing? But like also the idea is like, yes, there are gross narcissists out there and there's terrible people, of course. But what are you bringing to the environment that you're in, to people that are around you? And you can change the environment you're in just by being a person who's giving the environment what it needs and what the people around you need. And so the more internal work he did, he was able to look around and see what he was giving back. And it can be a really nice mirror. And so I really appreciate him sharing that internal work. And I think we can all use more. I think it's a really good time to step in and go, what am I doing? How am I attributing or contributing to the world? And we all need contribution. We all need to contribute to feel like we're part of society, community, growing in this world.
Yeah, he talked about how he like really hated himself. He said something really that struck a chord with me. I was going to say profound, but
I thought you were going to say poignant. It's one of the words
really
you like
poignant.
to use.
It
You
was
love
so
to use
poignant.
it. You love poignant.
He struck a chord with me when he said, based on the actions that I had taken, I started to tell myself my own identity. Right? So, for example, he said he was driving on sales. He was working remotely. So he's driving around, and he's away from his family. And he's like, I guess because of my company that I started, that my partners and I have done, I guess I'm just that dad who's going to be absent. I guess that's just who I am.
Mm.
And that really, really hit me hard because I remember with my ex-wife thinking, I made the decision that we are going to be married. And so I guess this is just what marriage is. And it fucking sucked, and I was like, okay, I signed up for this next 50 years. And I literally told myself this, and I was just like resigned to this idea of like this thing that I felt very stuck in. Right. And that shaped me. That really, really, it made me sad because I wasn't enjoying the relationship. I was shocked. I was actually more shocked that this was the experience of being married than anything else. I was like, this is not what my expectations were in any way. Right. And I was like, I guess I'm in for it now because I went through with it.
Yeah. I feel like there's some sentences like, this is just who I am. Whenever you hear yourself say, this is just the way it is, or this is just who I am, that you are creating a obstacle, a block, a limiting belief in that moment. That if you were able to step outside yourself and actually hear someone else say that about themselves, you would never, here's what I know. You didn't say this out loud to anyone, and he didn't say this out loud to anyone. And if you had someone like, no fucking way, dude, that is not, you don't have to be this person. That's not who you were.
Yeah. I bet my ex did say this out loud to her best friend. And she clearly wasn't happy in the relationship either. Right. And so she's the one that ultimately pulled the plug. And that's where the catalyst of change happened in my life. Whereas with Ryan, what I found really interesting is he actually said, I don't remember what was the moment, but I just remember there was a day that I said, I can't keep doing this anymore. And that's when the change started to happen. And it really shifted. That's when he started working more on himself, because he said, I hated myself. I didn't like who I was becoming. The story I was telling myself was shit. I felt like shit. And he got really, really dark, internally. And then, when he made that decision, all right, this cannot continue, or else what's the point? He started to work on himself and tell himself different stories and shift and change and draw lines in the sand. And he contacted his wife and he said, hey, do you actually want to try to fix this thing? And he said, I want to be a better dad. And, and I think the thing was, it was all in spite of the thing that he thought he had to do, which was his job, right? This company that he started and this thing he signed up for. And for me, it was my marriage, this commitment that I have made, right? And he said, I'm going to make a change despite my job, right? And for my ex and I, we're going to make a change despite our marriage, right? And so anyway.
I'm really grateful for your ex-wife. I was going to say that. I think it's so important. People hear.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Me too, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to her for realizing I should pull this, because now you and I are together.
Well, there's that for sure. But also I wasn't very happy. I really wasn't happy. And I was becoming a very dark person.
Yeah.
So.
Lastly, and then we'll talk about what you loved. I think we can wrap this up with, he said, I believe that I and we collectively are so well positioned to help so many people who in turn are going to go out and help others. And I think this is something I always tell people, how is self-care not selfish care? I'm because if you fucking like yourself, you're just nicer to people.
Yeah.
And every person.
So this is the other side of his story, right? This is today, where now he is he's a completely different person than he was, 10 years ago, or I don't know what the timeline actually was. His relationship with his wife is healthier. He's being a dad on purpose, all that kind of stuff. And today with his company, he gets to help people.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason why I believe more bodies should do Pilates is because when you take care of yourself, you change the lives of the people around you. When you fill your cup, you are a completely different person than when your cup is drained. Brad drained and pissed, and in his last marriage, not a nice person to the barista. I'm sure not an asshole because you were in service industry, but just not seeing the potential out there. But when you can change how you help people, and you can change how you see yourself, and you can start to see that when I take care of me and I give out to the world, it makes the people around me better. And then they make those people, it's a domino effect of the world being a better place. So anyways, I just love that.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Yeah. Well, what I thought was interesting was the two of you went down this really cool conversation about the what, versus the who. And at first I was like, this is obscure. I'm not connecting the dots here. But you kept talking about, which I'm really glad you did, because it kind of brought it home for me. Ryan's initial company, the job that he signed up for, the life he created, was in pursuit of money, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that was the thing. That was it. And he said, actually, what I was pursuing was the what. And the what was, how do I get paid? As opposed to, how do I pursue the who? And the who is, who do I want to be in what I am doing? Right. And I thought, this is so profound. It made me go back to, this is so poignant. This this made me think back to.
This struck a chord with me.
This struck a chord. This really resonated with me. This took me back to high school, where I was like, what do I want to do with my life? That's the fucking question that we all ask. What do I want to do with my life?
They ask little kids, what do you want to be?
Yeah, what do you want to be when you grow up?
My sister's response, an adult.
I love that response. I think that's the wrong question to be asking. What do you want to be? I think it's, who do you want to be? How do you want to live? How do you want to treat people? And then the what will find itself. It comes together. I never fucking imagined in any way, shape, or form that I would be involved in Pilates. Ever. I didn't even know what Pilates was until I was in my 30s. If you asked me when I was 18, I don't know. I would have told you I wanted to be a pro soccer player or something, but who did I want to be? What a profound difference my life would have had.
It would have had a poignant moment.
It would have had a poignant difference in the cultivation of Brad's resonance with the. He said, by not paying attention to who and instead focusing on what, we literally become whatever it is we're chasing, which is the what. And then we wake up one day and go, holy crap, who the hell is this? Who the hell am I? Right? I really, really appreciated the conversation the two of you had around that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I just thought it was I'm so grateful for Ryan. We had a really great conversation. I came out of it going, I learned a lot today.
Yeah, I think we have an opportunity, if we've not ever thought about the who, why not start thinking about the who today?
Yeah.
Because we most likely inadvertently dedicated our lives to the what. You know, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? How is it going to be?
Because people always ask you like, what do you do for a living? So no one asks you like,
sure.
Who are you? And who was I with? Oh, we're having her back on, Mel Dolman. She'll ask people like, oh, how do you like to spend your time?
Yeah.
Because like it allows for people get out of the, oh, I do this for a living. She was at South by Southwest. And so it's like a networking, whatever. Mm-hmm. And everyone's trying to be like, this is how amazing I am. And she was just like, oh, how do you spend your time? And people are like, what?
Right. Exactly.
It's like, what do you do with your time? Like, what do you like to do with it?
But but thinking about this, like, if you have never thought about who you want to be, and you're already quote unquote resigned to what's happening in your world, might be finding yourself in a similar position as Ryan,
mm-hmm.
right? And but
don't be old Ryan, be new.
It's
Ryan.
It's not too late to start asking yourself the question: who do I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Who do I want to be?
I mean,
now?
that's the be it till you see it thing.
Yep, love it. All right, finally, let's talk about those be it action items. Say it with me, y'all. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Ryan Lang? Again.
You're saying his name like that.
Because
Ryan Lang, come on
name.
down. Welcome to The Price is Right.
So he said, start with the who, like we were just talking about. First and foremost, don't do anything before you figure out the who. This emphasizes the importance of self-identity before taking action on the what. Before you even set out on your annual goals, ask, how do I want to show up this year? Who do I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
I love this. I think this is fantastic.
I also think you can, by the way, you guys can start a new year today. You don't have to like, it's April.
Yeah.
Like
I guess I'll start in 8 months.
Just so you know, like it was just the Kamayan New Year. So it's
right.
There's like literally a new year at different times of the day, depending on like where you are, what religion you have. Like you can start on the new moon. Okay. So like you can just start this now.
Yeah.
And you can change how your trajectory is going by starting with the who.
Today.
Which leads to
yeah.
What are some small steps that I can take literally every day and hammer in that nail? Now, just side note, shout out to Anthony, our yoga teacher. Do not hammer your actual nail. Don't do it. It's not pretty. Hope his thumb's getting better.
Yeah, he smashed his thumb.
I love him so much. I'm sure he doesn't listen. Anyways, but what are like when you think about the who, be it till you see it means work backwards. And what are some steps you can literally take every day?
Literally.
So if the who is someone who is like bright and shiny, has great energy for their children, what do you have to do every day to have energy for your children? What would that look like? Is it more sleep? Is it more water? Is it more vegetables?
One?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Just a shameless plug for, the ad there. But so think about that. And I think that those two questions are something you can ponder, percolate, pontificate on. I'm just using Brad's ridiculous amount of words he uses to like draw attention to a thing that he's thinking.
Very poignant, babe.
It really is. To helping you figure out the who and how to make the who you are today. It's how to be it till you see it. I feel like he just like summed up how to be it till you see it right there in his action items. So I'm just going to say like, put that on the board.
Well, the small steps, what I thought was cool about this was he was talking about what if you're in a place where you just feel like you're lying to yourself, right? Because he's like, what do I like? I started to smile about certain things, but I felt like it was fake, and but it's a small step that you can take to start the change. There will come a point along the path that you believe it, that you actually live it, you are it. Yeah. And that is the be it moment. So when you look in the mirror, you actually believe that you're becoming the person.
You'll probably won't actually see the day that it happened. It won't be like, ding, 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 ding. It'll just have like slowly happened. Just like
you have arrived.
Yeah. Just in the same way that it slowly happened the other way for him. Anyways, I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Kroll.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast today. We are so grateful for you. How are you going to use these tips in your life? We want to know. Tag the Beit Pod. tag Ryan Lang. Make sure you share with him how his episode may have changed your life or what you were thinking about doing. It means a lot to our guests and it means a lot to this podcast. It's how this podcast gets found. So leave us a review, send in a question. What else can I ask of you to do? Share this with a friend. Woo. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.